Cabinet is meeting in Canberra this morning as the Prime Minister rallies his troops ahead of the upcoming election campaign. Let's go live to political correspondent Cameron Redden in Canberra for us this morning. Good morning, Cam. We'll hear from the PM later today. What was the main focus around the Cabinet table this morning?
Yeah, I've just been told, Holly, we'll hear from the Prime Minister in about 15 minutes from now. His first big press conference in the courtyard of Parliament House in the new year for 2025. So about 15 minutes away, the Prime Minister. That Cabinet meeting has now just wrapped up here in Canberra, the first of its kind for 2025. And it's no surprise that the cost of living was a key focus at this meeting. The Prime Minister setting the scene for his troops about the election that will be fought over the coming months. We don't know exactly when it will be, but it has to be held by May 17. So over the months ahead, we will see many of the big issues thrashed out. The Prime Minister also alluding to the tone that he wants to set to earn a second term. He's talking up his government's ability to be positive, to be optimistic, to be able to guide Australians through the tough times, pointing to the fact that inflation is now down below 3% with a 2 in front of it. It had a 6 in front of it when Labor came to power, arguing that he has the ability to now look forward and to move Australians past the tough times and to focus on the future. Here's some of what the Prime Minister told his Cabinet colleagues a short time ago.
Today we get down to work, building further on our agenda and putting forward a positive, optimistic vision for Australia, one that unites Australia, not one that seeks to divide.
And at that press conference in about 15 minutes' time, Holly, I'm told this is going to be the first major announcement, if you like, of the Prime Minister's pre-election campaign. It's to do with the NBN. He flagged it in that Cabinet pre-spray to his colleagues, if you like. We're told there's going to be a cost of living focus to do with the NBN when the Prime Minister stands up. So that'll be live in about 15 minutes' time.
And Cam, the opposition leader says he'll look to force councils to mark Australia Day on January 26 if he's elected. What exactly would that involve?
Yeah, we do go through this a bit every year, Holly, when it comes to councils around the country, whether or not they recognise Australia Day and how they do it. This came up relatively unprompted, although from a question from our colleague in Melbourne, Simon Love, at a press conference a few minutes ago, where Peter Dutton was asked about some of the councils, there are dozens of them in different parts of the country, that refuse to hold citizenship ceremonies on January the 26th for various reasons. Now, the opposition leader points to this ceremony code, is what it's called. It was brought in 2022 under the Albanese government, and it kind of sets out the guidelines for how councils can or can't hold citizenship ceremonies. And in that document, as you can see there, it allows councils to hold a ceremony on Australia Day or the 3 days prior or after Australia Day. So there's a week-long window, if you like, for councils to hold citizenship ceremonies. Peter Dutton, though, at this press conference a few minutes ago, announced that within his first 100 days, if he is to win the next election and form a government, then he would move to change that code and force councils to hold citizenship ceremonies on Australia Day on the 26th of January. In other words, not 3 days before or 3 days after, that those ceremonies would have to be held on January 26th. This is Peter Dutton explaining his reasoning a short time ago.
The Prime Minister sent a signal to those councils that Australia Day didn't matter and that it was something to be ashamed of. The Prime Minister doesn't talk publicly about that, but that's exactly what he did. So would we reinstate a requirement for councils to hold citizenship ceremonies on Australia Day? You bet. It'll be done in the first 100 days and it will be a sign of pride and nationalism in our country.
So the pre-election wheels are very much beginning to turn, Holly. Peter Dutton announcing his 12 priorities yesterday and today, promising within his first 100 days to force councils to recognise Australia Day.
OK, Cam, thanks for the update.